We have an interesting topic of discussion this time, and that is cinema through pandemic. Like most of us, it seems like the pandemic has altered lives for those in possibly every industry, and even in the field of cinema. The seemingly invincible industry, it seems like this pandemic has surely shaken it. And to give us a perspective on that, I'd like to call upon Miss Chinmay Sripada, who's a singer, a celebrity herself, very vocal on issues. She's braved through the pandemic like all of us. We have Reema Kalingal, who's also an actor, par excellence, I could say. Reema, thank you very much. We also have award-winning producer, film producer, G. Dhananjayan joining us. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to ask you how you're all doing. Reema, let's start with you. Yes. How has the pandemic been for you? Because film stars are usually surrounded by the entire set, hundreds of people who are part of that one film that you're doing. Yeah. And during the pandemic, it seems like the stars per se were in isolation. Many of them who've left their homes behind, who've left their families behind in different states, who are settled in a place where the industry is flourishing. You as well. Were you with family, and how did you pull through this pandemic? Must not have been easy.
Well, it started out quite well, you know. I think we all wanted that break. In the beginning, we were like, okay, maybe like 2 weeks of break, it shouldn't be a problem.
2 weeks?
Yeah. But it didn't really turn out that way, did it? And a few months into the pandemic, I think most of us started to panic. At least the producers and the directors and the actors, they had a lot of other things to fall back on. But, you know, when we look at the whole industry, it was not easy for a lot of people. And we started thinking what was next, and we started planning for OTT platforms. We started to think YouTube, create content wherever possible, because at the end of the day, we are artists, we are performers.
So you got to keep that artist alive.
Yeah, we need to do something. And yeah, we did try a lot of things at that point, yes. We did push quite a lot of boundaries.
Was it a mind-altering experience? We understand loss in business, but it must have been difficult for you to actually stay calm. You know, a lot of them did develop anxiety. Many of the celebrities came out to speak on mental health and the issues that they faced. I'd like to ask you your personal experience.
I was actually quite calm. I don't know why. I don't know. I think I have had a very hectic 3 years professionally, politically, socially, and personally back in Kerala. So I kind of really welcomed the change in the beginning. And we were, as a production house, and we were quite clear that we would go ahead and do whatever was needed to kind of get back into work. And we were just planning for that. We
so
were
that
just
kept
waiting.
You busy.
Yeah, we had to, because we didn't have time to lose hope, because there were a lot of people depending on us to come up with a plan.
I know, I'm going to ask you about that, the ugly side of the industry, where it appears right after the pandemic. It's exposed the entire industry, where we're looking at a film profits trickling down to just maybe 4 to 5 individuals. And this pandemic has exposed that. The hero, maybe the heroine, the director, the producer, at max, who are benefited by the film doing well. The entire unit otherwise, who are mostly hand to mouth, they were almost wiped out. And we're talking about a multi-thousand crore industry, the film industry that it is, and it seems like profit is centered to just a few. I'd like to ask Mr. Dhananjay on that. Would you say this pandemic exposed the ugly side of the industry, Mr. Dhananjay?
I think, you know, you got one side wrong, which is on producers. In fact, not because, you know, I'm a producer I'm talking about. The biggest people, you know, the set of people who suffered in the pandemic is the producers. Okay, artists, you know, I'm not saying they didn't suffer. The people who work daily basis, a lot of artists work on daily basis. They get salary based on daily. They all suffered because there is no work for them. Those artists, you know, who get for a film, okay, for them it's a loss of opportunity. they could have acted in, in that 1 year period, almost like 1 year we are crossing now pandemic. All of them would have lost, 4 or 5 films, they would have finished it and made money. But all of them are rich enough to take care of themselves. But, if you look at the individual artists, I'm talking about the junior artists to, the character artists, they all suffered in a big way. Workers suffered in a big way.
That's precisely my question here. What has the film industry done so long
Yeah.
to secure the lives of those who actually make a film? And those are the spot boys, the artists, the small-time players in the film that actually make the entire film.
Yeah.
They've suffered the most. And that shows that over the years, the film industry has really done nothing to secure them. And the pandemic exposed that.
No, I agree with you on that. Pandemic exposed it, but the biggest people, set of people who suffered is the producer. They invested a lot of money. I can tell you today, before COVID, across the country, at least around 600 films were in under production. All of them, today incurred huge cost by way of interest. You have to pay to the lenders, to the banks, and the people whom you borrowed. Everyone lost, something like 40 to 50% of their investment through the interest cost. And there is no way, government or anyone can come to their support. All the producers, who lost through the interest, they lost it. They can never get back their money. Like, those individuals who could not get their jobs, the 1 year they went through suffering. Like producers lost it, all those independent, actors and, small artists, they all suffered. But this pandemic has, opened up, like Rima rightly said, lot of new opportunities, which is like, if you got a damn good content, suddenly OTT platform opened up, and OTTs has started giving, something called OTT Premier, which was not existent at all earlier. Today, all of a sudden, if you got a very interesting content, people are willing to see it in OTT, if it is not released in the theatre. Earlier, it was like, you have to release in the theatre, then only it will come in OTT.
Right, I was actually getting to that. It doesn't seem like the industry was also very open to the OTT industry. It somehow looked like the film industry at large, even though at that point in time, theatres were closed. There were so many restrictions. People could not go to a theatre to watch a film. So OTT platforms could have been the best option, but yet the big players resisted the OTT platform. Was it more like you didn't want another medium to flourish? Was it for personal benefit that many of the big players, I'm saying not you, but the industry per se, didn't really open up to it. Even till today, there are several films, big budget films that are ready and made, are waiting for theatre release. They don't want to get on the OTT.
Okay, you have a point on it, but look at from the other side. There are thousands of theatres in India. Let's look at it, around 10,000 screens. Each screen, depending on, there are 20 people working there. What will happen to this entire segment of theatres? They will all close down.
Are we really giving producers the credit to be honoring the
No, you
theatre
have to
laws?
balance it. I'm talking about you have to balance it. You can't give all the big content which has to be seen in the big screen, you start offering in the OTT. Then what will happen is, everybody will say, I'm very comfortable sitting at home watching an OTT every film. OTT is meant for specific niche content, is fine. If you are going to give big artist content in OTT, the audience over a period of time going to say, I will watch every film in OTT. Please give me an OTT, they will start saying. So earlier, when the pandemic time, it was more of niche content, unique content, which is in the OTT. People started loving it, and web series and all the new original films and all is fine. But suddenly, when the films, which are meant for big screen, started coming into the, OTT platform, audience mindset is completely changing. Today, I can tell you, lot of audience across the country are saying, please give me an OTT. I can sit at home and comfortably watch it, not once or twice or thrice.
True.
Then what will happen to the theatre business? And what will happen to the entire segment?
Would you believe the same? I'd like to ask Sripada, why don't you jump in here? I think Rima should answer this. No, go on. Your experience during the pandemic,
Yes,
being
but
part of the entertainment industry.
I most definitely believe that as an audience, as a cinema goer, I'm a very, very average audience, right? Very average. I'm not the thinking audience and all that. I just want to go to the theatre, have fun. But I still believe that a huge part of our Indian films is about community experience. You'll actually enjoy a film far more in a theatre than sitting at home. And there are some of us who are looking for the community experience of watching it with other people in a theatre versus just sitting at home and watching something. And the reverse has also happened. Something that we did not enjoy so much in a theatre, we have actually enjoyed all over again when sitting at home and watching, saying, why did I not like this film? It's actually a good film. So sometimes the community watching can either ruin it for you or make a film for you. So I believe it's there are no straight yes or no answers to this. That's the only problem with this.
I'd like to point out, Mr. Dhananjay said niche audience. for the OTT. I don't think OTT is any more niche. It's as commercial as can be today, and that's precisely what the film industry may have been wary of, because it would eat into the profits, and the industry is large. But on the contrary, there several small-time stars have been given that kind of platform, like a Gaurav from White Tiger. Look at the recognition that he's got through OTT. Would you believe that OTT was necessary, and it's just speeded up the process to democratize the industry today?
Yes, I definitely do think so. Just hopping on back to the last thing, if you forget the business side of it completely, and if you're looking at just the psychological effect that it had on theatre owners, since they have a system in place and suddenly they see it slipping right in front of their eyes, I understand why they did create such a hue and cry in the beginning. And I think we all really thought this would end in a month's time and we could all release films. But then when it kept on, almost 8 to 9 months of lockdown, and at that point we didn't have a choice but to release films on OTT platforms, because we had to look at the larger picture. We had to look at the industry as a whole. And coming to this question, I think it has most definitely helped democratize the whole film industry. And yes, it has. If you look at this small
so no
film,
more monopoly of the big stars,
but
no more
yes,
monopoly of those production houses, the 4 or 5 production houses that monopolize the entire industry. Few stars, 4 or 5 top stars. Few producers who actually take control, don't allow the outsiders to come in. It seems like the pandemic and the speeding up of OTT has really crashed that.
No, but again, if you're going to a space where it's just going to be OTT premieres, that system is going to reflect here too in no time. So I would actually want multiple platforms like theaters and OTTs to thrive together, because like you said, there is a niche audience too, because OTT platforms host all kind of content, not just mass films or superstar films. You get new content. I was going to give you an example of The Great Indian Kitchen that happened in Malayalam cinema very recently, which was not picked up by the big players, was not picked up by any...
What a hit it is.
What a hit it was. And then television channels picked it up after it became a hit on OTT. I think that was the first time something like that's happened ever.
So you believe content is king?
I do believe content is king.
That's above all.
I think content is king any day it is, and I really hope all television channels to OTT platforms do give that chance to small players. Look at the content. If that works, why don't you pick it up? Why is it always about stars? Because the audience is looking at content. Great Indian Kitchen proves it. See You Soon proves it. There's so many films that proves it.
Shripada?
I actually
Good content will
agree.
sell, bad content will shrink. And that's as simple as that. This pandemic has really hastened that process of clarity.
I also believe this entire concept of what is good content and what is bad content is also subjective, right? Something that I might like, you might not. A type of comedy that I like, you might not. I might like acid rock, you might not. You might call it noise. However, there is something that, there is a marketing machinery. There might be really deep pockets for people to actually push a film that, generally people will say it's not such good content. But again, I somehow am not in this space as an audience and also as somebody who's in the industry, but I'm only a singer. I'm hired by a composer to sing in a movie, and as long as the Tamil industry is concerned, it's not happened for the past 2.5 years, ever since the Me Too movement. That's a different story. But overall, I somehow believe that this entire concept of what is good content and what is not so okay content is very, very subjective. And I don't feel the need to, place myself on a pedestal where I decide good, bad, get out. So I can't.
So you're saying as a simple viewer, you'd like all choices of viewing.
Yes.
OTT has that provision, right? You can host all kind of content.
No, it's fantastic that the OTT is there, but what was worrisome was that the industry never welcomed it wholeheartedly. It seemed like there was a certain amount of resistance from the start. While in the West you saw the OTT booming, in India it still took that long. Mr. Dhananjay?
That's actually true. There are a lot of people who have been wanting to push for OTT for years. They have been wanting to. I remember in Tamil industry, I think director Cheran wanted to do a direct to home of his films. A lot of people have been trying over the years, but the general mindset of people needs to change. And you can probably constantly introduce a concept to them. If they don't get it, if they don't want to get it, you can't really get a
Shivada,
horse.
but I'd like some personal experiences. Go on. Give me your experience in the industry. You yourself. I'll come to you, sir. Go
My
on.
experience in the industry with regard to?
Through the pandemic, with creativity and trying to come up with new content. Many of the stars, a lot of the times, most of it is scripted, right? A lot of it is given to you and you enact it as per what the director wants. But now is the time where you come out with original content, where your creativity is out there on the platform and you as a personality would shine. And that pandemic has really pushed you to that direction. So you live up to it, you survive. If you don't, you fall.
As far as I'm concerned, I personally have been banned by the Tamil Nadu industry since October 2018.
Banned?
Yes, I'm officially banned.
Okay.
By BJP's Mr. Radharavi and a TMK affiliated Mr. Vairamuthu. I will say this, I'll repeat it, I'll continue to repeat it. I am going to courts for my right to work. I have been banned because I named my molester in the Me Too movement. As long as my work is concerned, 60% of it is anyway gone. But thankfully, I have presence with Telugu, with Kannada, with Malayalam and with Hindi. And I've been able to survive as an artist.
Wow, that is really bold of you. When I say bold, I mean to say you've picked up, you've moved on, not sat down like a victim.
No, the system can be very victimizing. Let me also tell you, you feel very alone. And to not feel like a victim is not something that that's not an award that I'd like to give myself. I am privileged. I have the privilege of having a very supportive partner, a supportive family. But what about the others who don't have the wherewithal to take a case to court, don't have the wherewithal to take all the abuse? I get targeted abuse from across political parties because I ask them why do they need to platform the very molesters that have been named by so many of us.
And has anything happened to your complaints?
Nothing changed.
Did you file a complaint?
I have filed a complaint. Actually, it's like Priya Ramani's case, where she had a defamation filed on her. I am actually fighting for my right to work, saying, give me my right to work. Let me choose to work.
How have they stopped work for you?
It's actually a pan-industry ban. It's a dubbing union ban. Mr. Radharavi heads it. He is a part of the BJP. And he has banned me. And once Radharavi has banned you, nobody will want to work with you because it's a union ban. So they give a diktat. So it works like a cartel of sorts. They give a diktat, they send out circulars, they have a FEFC, a film.
They sent out circulars to ban you?
Yeah. I have that. I have presented all of that to the city civil court.
Are you fighting this legally?
Yes, I don't have a choice. I don't want to be fighting this legally. Naming that I was molested and saying I was molested by somebody is not a crime. It's fact. 17 women named Mr. Vairamuthu. Mr. Radharavi himself has been
named. Did all of them face similar ostracization?
Definitely not. Mr. Vairamuthu is absolutely fine. Mr. Radharavi is still the president of the dubbing union. He is very, very powerful, apparently, with the Tamil Nadu BJP.
No, you said 17 women named them.
So one of them is in the US. 3 of us came out openly and named him. The other woman lost her career several years ago for refusing to bow down to Mr. Vairamuthu's demands. So we are all individually fighting our own battles that we are all capable of, right? In a way, the system has victimized me. I don't want to be the victim. Who wants to be the victim, yeah? And as we also say this, there are other women who don't have this upper caste Savarna identity, who don't have, they don't get invited to conclaves like me. There are Dalit sisters, there are women, LGBTQI people who have also gone through all of this, who don't have representation in panels like this. How much longer will only I be sitting here? When will I see women who need to be here speaking to other women who want to see that here's a sister that I can identify with? Everybody doesn't identify with me. My struggle is very individual. And it's very upper caste.
Do you really believe that women in trouble don't identify with you? Because I do know that this pandemic has put a lot of women in distress, a lot of men too.
Absolutely.
relationship struggles.
Yes.
Staying confined in a house, in a room, in quarantine has really thrown personal life out of gear.
Absolutely.
Domestic violence has increased immensely.
Absolutely.
Would you like to address that?
Child sexual abuse has increased, domestic violence has increased, and most importantly, what we have also forgotten to identify is what people with disabilities have gone through. They are dependent on a family member, they have faced utmost violence, and they have been completely othered by the entire system, by societies. I've been a part of some of these panels where women with disabilities speak about how they have been othered not only by their own disability but also by the fact, imagine visually impaired people, imagine hearing impaired people, and they are probably dependent on the government for the money, and they are dependent on a family member to go to the bank and get the money to just generally feed themselves and exist, for their medicines, all of that. The system didn't think about all of that, right? So who is going to be asking those questions? What about the people with disabilities, right from accessibility in every day? So people with disabilities, especially LGBTQI people, what about them?
No, they've had the worst struggle during this
Yes.
pandemic, undoubtedly.
Yes.
Let me cut across to Mr. Dhananjay. Mr. Dhananjay, do you believe this pandemic has created a more level playing field for the industry? When I say level playing field, the OTT boom, many of the smaller stars now coming to focus, many of the bigger players losing out, maybe a level playing field. We're not rejoicing in someone's loss, but we're saying that finally we're looking at some kind of equality.
Absolutely. In fact, one other thing I'd like to mention is, this pandemic brought in a lot of talents. Every artist today or every director, popular director, have got their own YouTube channels. I don't know how many of you noticed it. So many of them got a lot of subscription, a lot of reach. Individually, everyone is able to showcase their talent, which is what the pandemic opened. They could just shoot in their mobile phone and bring out their videos. From that to, I'm talking about, you can create a content like See You Soon, which is shot using mobile phone, and sell it to Amazon Prime and television channel and make good money for the entire production team. So content is king finally, but the content today people are able to produce in various media. It is not anymore you need a big crew and big camera and everything. You can shoot even an iPhone and bring out wonderful content. So pandemic opened up great talents. A lot of people could flourish and show to the world they're very talented people. At the same time, it opened up opportunities in terms of, where films can be made in mobile, and, it level playing field it has offered. That's why you see a White Tiger with a new artist becoming a rage in
Yes.
OTT platform. Not just White Tiger. I'm talking about, like Rima rightly said, Great Indian Kitchen was not brought out by a popular OTT platform. It was brought out by an upcoming or a new OTT platform, but more than 1 lakh and of people have watched it paying for that film by paying 149.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Like 149 rupees they paid per watching once. And more than 1 lakh people watched it, and then, television channel picked up. Like Rima said, a lot of popular channels rejected that film. And today that film became a cult film, and people are getting, the film is getting made in Tamil and Telugu thanks to OTT platform. So OTT has opened up great opportunity for good content, and it given a great opportunity for the people to see.
So what about producers like you, Mr. Dhananjay? How do you plan distribution in the age of OTT now? Like whether we like it or not, OTT has taken center stage. You've got to find innovative ways. Big production houses can run out of business at this point in time if you don't re-innovate. Actors, big actors who we see just shaking a leg, just because of the fame and the worshipping fans that they have, they somehow make business. But today it's not like that. It seems like the smaller stars have shown brighter.
But I can still tell you that people would like to watch a Salman Khan film or a Shah Rukh film, an Amir Khan film, and here if you come Vijay sir film and Rajini sir film and Kamal sir film, they will like to watch in the moment in theatre. They will all love to watch in theatre because they would like to come to theatre and celebrate, and nobody can beat it. Today, when we are discussing, our Mamuka's film, Priest got released, huge response in theatre. The same thing happens in Telugu. Every big artist film, getting huge response in theatre. Nobody can replace theatre, but OTT is a great supplement which has come to the film industry. In fact, what we see is OTT is like a great revenue supplement. Great, what do you call it?
Does the revenue match theatre release, and how would you reinvent? If you could give us a perspective, because I'm sure the industry is watching you, they'd like to know a tip or two on how you plan to reinvent, or how the industry plans.
The industry, what is looking from OTT platform is like support smaller films. support smaller film which is not getting the support in theatre. You know what is happening today is when a small film is releasing in theatre, audience are not willing to come to the theatre. They're saying, no, we like to watch these films in OTT. Please give us bigger films in big screen. You know what the language people are saying today, all the common audience? It is not I am saying. I did a survey recently and people are saying big films meant for big screen, small films meant for small screen like OTT or television. Now, what we are requesting all the OTT platform is pick up small film and premiere them in OTT platform, because that is a great support to good content to come up more and more. More and more talents will come up. They'll come out with brilliant content because there is somebody called OTT platform willing to support. If OTT platform also looking for only big artist film to premiere them or to showcase them, then where will the small film will go? The small film will have neither the audience at theatre nor in the OTT platform.
Absolutely. So support smaller ventures. That's your belief.
Yeah, our only thing is like big is becoming bigger even in the OTT era.
Absolutely. You throw one OTT movie with a top star and it's number one.
Yeah, number one.
It's trending like that.
Absolutely. In fact,
Yeah.
you put
But
anything
what's
OTT
the
premiere.
revenue? What's the revenue, Mr. Dhananjay? Does that match up to your theatre release? like I
100%.
mentioned?
It's like a no risk business. Okay, you look at a OTT premiere. If somebody is coming and picking your film, you have no risk at all. No, you are not worried about what happens to theatre. Will the audience like it or not? What reviews are going to come? Are you going to get 3-star rating or 4-star rating? You are not bothered because the reviews are not going to impact at all. You already sold the film completely. You got your money. OTT is a complete de-risker. You know, it de-risk your entire investment. That way, OTT is a great support to the film industry.
Excellent.
We all welcome OTT platform. All that we are seeking is like support small and medium film, because that's where good content will come. Of course, you need mass stars, mass film, but the mass stars have another revenue called, you know, theatre business. And theatres are opened up. People are willing to come to the theatre for big artist film. While big artist film will get the support in theatre, please do support small content in OTT is what I would say as producer,
That's a
a
great
fellow
message.
producer.
That's great message. Rima, why don't you tell me, OTT has actually revived the careers of several stars, be it Bobby Deol, be it Saif Ali Khan. They seldom were seen to have a hit film, but on OTT, they're superstars now. Do you feel OTT really strikes that creative chord in you? And what do you think really pulls out that artist inside you?
It surely does, right? Like, just look at the content.
How does it? Like, what are different cameras? What's used?
It's not really about the technical side at all, I guess.
I'm just kidding, but I'm
No,
saying.
yeah, I guess it's about content. Like, you know, I keep coming back to that one point, I guess, you know. Okay, let me look at Delhi Crime. We have a female-led subject which would have had so much pressure on it if it was going to be a theatrical release. I know it's a series, but even then, I'm just trying to tell you. Like, let's talk about representation. The LGBTQ community represented in different kind of content, more so on an international platform than in India. But then, even then, we have an audience suddenly looking past these superstars. We have people concentrating on themes which don't have the pressure of, you know, making them work at a theater. We're looking at a visual grammar where, you know, people can go beyond set boundaries. We are looking at shooting on iPhone. I just did a short film in Hindi, Zindagi in Short, headed by Guneet Monga. And
Yes, I watched that. That
Yeah.
was cute.
Yeah, I
so
know.
You like those small roles. You like
Yeah.
it. So it's interesting to see how big stars don't mind doing really small cameos on OTT.
Yeah, why
Unlike
not?
you would want otherwise a big role in a film, but in an OTT you're okay with a small role.
yeah, and you have the liberty to go ahead and experiment, which for an artist is everything.
So you're saying it's trial and error platform?
No, it's not trial and error. It's go do that thing that you have always had in your mind. Go do what you love. Don't really, you know, get bogged down by the pressure of a theatrical release.
Okay. Sripada, do you believe that OTT platforms, the makers now, are almost the same as what the commercial film industry have? You said that the film industry in Tamil has more or less banned you. Are those the same people who are also shooting on OTT? And are you still banned even on OTT? Can you explore that option?
I can explore the option, but yes, I'm still
Have
banned.
you tried?
I'm still banned.
You're still banned.
Yes, BJP's Radha Ravi makes sure that I'm banned. He calls them and tells them not to work with
You're basically
me.
trying to tell me those are the same people who work commercial for the commercial industry also work
Because
in
the
OTT.
employees, they all come under this, the ambit of the Film Employees Federation of South India. They're all 24 unions for different crafts. They are all under there, and I'm still banned. So I have been, basically, this union sends out the diktat to the head union and tells every other union that this person has been banned from the union, so do not cooperate with them in any
Mr.
way.
Dhananjay, would you cast Shripada?
She's one of the greatest talent we have in
There you
India.
go.
Okay, she's one of the finest singers, finest dubbing artists. Given an opportunity, I'd love to work with her, and nobody in the industry will say no to Chinmay. Okay, she's the greatest talent. All that this union issue, what she's having a rightful issue, and one can't go against the union. And all that I would say is, as an industry, we should put it across to the unions and say that great talent like Chinmay should never be denied the opportunity to work in Tamil cinema. She's today a great talent in Telugu cinema, because Tamil cinema is not giving opportunity. She's working in Telugu. I'm absolutely disturbed about it. I would love, and to the extent possible, whatever I can do, now that she took it up so seriously, we will like to take it up in Tamil cinema and in the
Excellent.
industry. I like to take it up strongly that Chinmay has to be brought back,
Hats
given
off
at
to
the
you.
right position and right place for her talent.
That's fantastic.
That I can
and
assure you.
I think that is a great parting note. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Kudos to all of you for doing your bit within the industry and paving your way through, maneuvering your way through this pandemic, and all power to all of you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.